guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelisa, and on this channel we read, discuss, and obsess over books together. And today I'm going to be doing my 2023 wrap-up. So this is going to be quite a long video. We're going to go right into it. I'm going to do a quick storygraph statistics for the whole year, and then after that we're just going to talk about every book that I read this year. So first of all, we had a really good reading year. We read 92 books for a total of 33,776 pages. That is the most that I've ever read in a year in my entire life. So I'm kind of proud of myself. For moods, most of my books were emotional, followed by mysterious and adventurous. And after that, it's dark and tense, as well as lighthearted. And then funny, reflective, hopeful, sad. Smallest little slices there are relaxing, inspiring, and informative. Interestingly, 67% of my books were medium pace. I had 30% fast pace and only 2% slow pace, so I kind of like that. Most of my books, 85%, were between 300 to 499 pages, but I had 11% that were under 300 and only 4% that were over 500 pages. I don't know how that happened because I read a lot of fantasy this year, so I don't know. 98% were fiction, only 2% were nonfiction. That is on brand for me. And oh my goodness, genres. Okay. I cannot even tell you the numbers for these. Give me one sec. Okay, I read 48 romance, 34 contemporary, 31 young adult, 23 fantasy, 21 mystery, 20 thriller, 9 literary, 7 dystopian, 3 horror, 3 historical, 2 middle grade, and 1 classic, 1 LGBTQ, 1 magical realism, 1 sports, 1 science, 1 psychology, 1 memoir, 1 graphic novel, and 1 biography. My most read author this year was Jennifer Lynn Barnes. That's probably because I read the entire Inheritance Games series and the entire Natural series, so that makes perfect sense. And then after that is Taylor Jenkins Reid, which also makes sense. And then Tahereh Mafi, which is the Shatter Me author, so that makes sense. And then Mary E. Pearson, Sarah J. Maas, Holly Black, Riley Sager, Lauren Asher, Hannah Grace, Lynn Painter. My average rating for the year was 4.3 stars. I had 27 5-star books this year. That is amazing. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, most of my books were over 4 stars, and the lowest I rated a book was 2.5 stars. I feel like I'm really nice with my ratings. I might change that for 2024. Anyway, that's the storygraph statistics. We're just gonna jump right into the books now. This light is giving me a headache. Hold on. I hope that's a little bit better for the lighting. Sorry guys, I have to switch the lighting up. Anyway, let's get into it. So in January, I started off with The X-Talk. I rated this 3.75 stars. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. Like, it was kind of 50-50 for me. I thought the premise was really great, but it didn't end up being what I thought it was. So yeah, 3.75 stars. Next, I read Vow of Thieves. This one I gave 5 stars. It was my first 5-star read of the 2023 year. I had read Danes of Thieves right at the end of 2022, and I had to go right into Vow of Thieves right after. So yeah, this was a 5-star for me. I loved it so much. If you're gonna read the series though, I do recommend reading the prequel series, The Remnant Chronicles, which I will talk about in a second. Next, I read The Silent Patient. I rated this 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It wasn't a full 5-star for me. Oh, a bookmark. I didn't realize I still had this in it. It wasn't a full 5-star book for me. I did audiobook a lot of it, but I just felt like the ending was like, it wasn't predictable, but it just wasn't my favorite. The last book I finished in January was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I rated this 5 stars. I really loved this book. I thought that it was really beautiful. Taylor Jenkins Reid has a bunch of on her backlist that are about like these like complicated things and like relationship issues, and like kind of plays with time a little bit and like what ifs a lot. In this one, someone has to choose between their new love of their life and their husband who had like died, and they had already like mourned them, and then the husband came back. So she had already met someone new and has to choose like what is she gonna do now. So this was a very interesting read to me. Moving on to February, I started off with The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This was so much fun. I did rate it 3.75 stars because I like was really lost a lot of time. I thought that the millions of point of views that this one has kind of made it harder to keep track of what was going on, but I also audiobooked it, so that might have contributed to my experience. I do think I would reread this just to see, because I did think the ending was really, really cool. So after that, I read Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This one was really, really fun. I rated it 4 stars. It's a memoir kind of style, and it's like a bunch of different stories throughout this girl's like 20s and 30s, I think, about becoming an adult. And if you see the title, it has it crossed out like Everything I Know About Parties. What else? Oh, dates, friends, jobs, and life. So yeah, it isn't just about love, it's about all those things too. And I will probably keep this book forever. It's one of my favorite like little memoir books. Next, I read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I rated this one 5 stars. I freaking loved it. I totally accepted the hype, and I think it lived up to it. Some people think it's not like a great book because it's not super complicated, but it literally is a comfort read. Like, she's a self-described fluffy comfort reader or comfort book author, so that's what we're gonna kind of accept about this novel. And if you were looking for a super complicated love story in this, you're not gonna get that. Like, you're just gonna get comfort and happy moments, but also a little bit of like conflict that is resolvable, which I also liked. So yeah, I rate this 5 stars. Next, I read The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I really, really loved this, but I only rated it 3.75 stars. I think it was just the Groundhog Day thing has been done so many times, and this wasn't done the best way. And yeah, but I so love her writing, and I loved Better Than the Movies, so what can I say? I'm really excited to read Betting on You as well, so yeah. Then I read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and I rated this 2.5 stars. So this actually, it was not my favorite book. I thought I was gonna like it a lot more. I've heard that people who don't like this book will often like the second and third one. So yeah, I only rated this 2.5 stars. I thought it was good, and there were some themes in it that I enjoyed, but it was just, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. Like, neither of the characters were my favorite. I did read the second book after though, and I liked them a lot better in the second book, but this only got 2.5 stars for me. Moving on to March, I started the series Throne of Glass, but I started it with The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I rated this 5 stars. I loved the novellas in these so much, and just I personally, my advice is to read this before the other books, but I don't know everything, so you know, you can go with what people say online, but personally I think you should read this one first. It's amazing, the novellas. Like, you wouldn't think that like little novellas would have so much depth to them, but they do, and I think it sets up the series really well and just introduces you to Selena as a character very well. So 5 freaking stars for me. Then I moved on to the Cruel Prince trilogy as well. I think I was kind of crazy for starting 2 fantasy series like in the same breath almost. I ended up rating this one 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed this for a first book. I thought the story was really fun. This fantasy world is one of my favorite. The way that it's kind of set up and reflects our real world in a way, and I love Holly Black's writing. Like, I think she's an amazing author. She's so talented. So yeah, I would definitely recommend picking up the series. Next, I read Better Than the Movies, and I rated this 4.5 stars. As I said, I loved this book. I thought it was so cute, and like, they're one of my favorite YA couples ever, and I just love the covers to these books as well. I think they're so adorable. Lynn Painter, whoever her artist is, does a great job at making them all really cohesive, so yeah. Then I read Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. So this was one that I had read, I think, for like Haley Pham's favorite books or something early in 2023, and this was a book that I knew she really liked and was a 5-star for her, so I read it and I was surprised by it. I rated it 4.5 stars. I actually really liked it. I thought it was really fun. The characters in it are really funny, and I would recommend picking up this book if you're looking for just like a fun literary fiction read. There's not really any romance. It's a point of view of like a teenage girl, so it is, I think, like YA and safe, I believe. So yeah, definitely check it out. Then I read House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I ended up rating this 5 stars. I really liked this book. I think this was my first Riley Sager book that I ever read, and I really loved it. It's what got me into his writing. It's very spooky, very twisty. I would recommend any of his books to you, to be honest, but specifically this one. Then I read The Roughest Draft by, it's actually 2 authors, Emily Wibberly and Austin Siegemund-Broka. I think in a past video I said Austin Sigmund Freud. I don't know what's wrong with me. This one was also really good. I rated this one 4 stars. I really liked the kind of like dual POV and the idea of two writers writing together, and like that whole thing, like it kind of reminded me of like Beach Read. So I really enjoyed that. There was some stuff in it that I think what bothered me was like that they just wouldn't like talk about their issues. They avoided a lot of it, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what was bothering me about this book. But I still rated it 4 stars. It was really cute, and I would still recommend trying the book. Next was one of the novellas in this Loathe to Love You kind of like novella trilogy. First, I had already read the first one, which is Under One Roof. So I read, I think I read both of them last year. So I read Below Zero this year to finish it off. That's the one here with the people with the hats on, and I rated that one 4 stars. I thought it was really cute. It was a quick little novella. I think I literally audiobooked it while I was doing laundry or something, and I thought it was really cute. So I would recommend this whole little like novella trilogy. They're about like 3 STEMnists who are friends, and they each have like their own little love story. Finally, in March, I read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I ended up rating this one 5 stars. I loved this story. I think it's great if you get immersed into it with the audiobook as well while you're reading it. It definitely improves your experience, and I also really loved the show. So yeah, some people, like, I think the reviews on this are really mixed. It really depends how much you like Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing, as well as like her books are very much like character driven. They're usually about the character's story. It's not so much plot. So yeah. All right, next in April, I start off the month with The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. This was my first Christina Lauren book ever, and I had like so many on my shelf, so I was like, I need to pick up one, and I ended up loving it. I rated it 5 stars. It was one of my favorite reads of the year. I thought the story was so cute, and I loved like the science aspect to it and like all the genetic stuff, and I could actually understand it. Like, it didn't feel like it was just like scientific jargon that no one but people who are in that field are meant to understand. But yeah, I love Christina Lauren's writing. Like, they are such good authors, and I ended up reading other books by them, and I will continue to read books by them this year. After that, I read The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike. This is a small little like 180, 150, I don't even know, page book, and I rated it 4 stars. I thought it was a very impactful read. It's a lot more spiritual than I thought it was going to be, and I think I misunderstood how the show was based off of this book. If you don't know, Netflix had done a show about this book. The show is based off of it, but more loosely as like a setting and loose plot line, but the actual elements in the show are actually dragged from Christopher Pike's other like horror novels, whereas this is more like a spiritual like literary fiction novel of his. But it's still really cool, and the stories in it are so interesting, and I thought the characters were just amazing. So 4 stars for me. After that, I ended up finishing A Court of Silver Flames. I did only end up rating this one 4 stars. I think it's just because it took me so long to finish this book. Like, I had started it a month prior, and it just took me so long to read it, as well as I wasn't as impressed by it as the first 2 books. I thought that it dragged on a lot. So yeah, and I'm getting 4 stars for me. Still really love the story, and Nessa does grow on you. If you are reading the first few books and you're wondering, how am I possibly going to like read a whole book about this girl? She gets better, and this is truly like a redemption for her character. I do think I will reread it eventually. I did annotate it the first time, so I'll definitely like reread it eventually. And this series is still one of my favorite series. So then I read If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. So this is a book that I had picked up because of Sarah Caroli's book recommendations, and I did end up rating it 4 stars. It was super sad. I did feel like it was a little bit like, because in the beginning of the book you kind of already know what's going to happen at the end, you're spending the entire book dreading it happening, and it's just really sad because of that. But I did still really enjoy it and thought that the story was just beautiful, so it got 4 stars for me. After that, I read Heart of the Raven Prince by Tassandra Odette, and I rated this 5 stars. I loved this so much. It's a Cinderella retelling, but with fae. Like, how amazing is that? If you haven't picked up this book or any of the books in this like standalone companion novel series, you need to. It's the Entangled with Fae companion novel series by Tassandra Odette. Then I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I rated this one 5 stars as well. I freaking love this book. I thought that it was so interesting, and the way that everything is set up and Alice Feeney's writing is like, like all of the twists and turns. At no point did I know what was the ending gonna be, and this I think was the first Alice Feeney book that I read and it started to get me into her writing, and this was another like Sarah Caroli recommendation. Then I started a new romance series, Addicted to You, or the Calloway Sisters series. I'm going to be reading the 2 series as a companion series. This is by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I rated the first one 4.5 stars. I really loved it. I thought Lily and Lo were so cute as friends, and although there is a little bit of like enabling and like toxicity in this relationship, I still really think that they can make it out of it, and I'm really interested in what the rest of the series is going to bring, and like getting introduced to some of the side characters as well was fun. Then I read Bunny by Mona Awad. This was a crazy book. I think I had to sit on what my rating was going to be for this for a while, because I was like, I did have to Google a little bit at the end to see what was going on, but I don't mind that. Once it was pointed out to me and everything clicked for me, I was like, whoa, that was insane. So I ended up rating it 4.5 stars. I would definitely recommend giving it a shot, but it isn't for everybody. Like, not everybody liked it. After that, I read both the Inheritance Games and the Hawthorne Legacy, and I rated both of these 5 stars. I love them so much. If you're thinking about getting into the Inheritance Games, like, don't even think anymore, just do it. You will love this series. The riddles and just like all of the twists, it keeps you so intrigued, and each book, like these 2 books take place right after one another, so I would definitely recommend like just getting both of them because you're gonna want to continue. Moving on to April. So I start off the month by going on vacation with my partner, and I start off by reading The Perfect Couple by Elin Hilderbrand. So I rated this book 3.75 stars. I don't have the book, so I'll put like a cover here. I thought it was really cool. It was my first Elin Hilderbrand book. It wasn't like my favorite book ever, but I thought the plot was pretty cool, and it wasn't a bad book at all. Like, I would definitely recommend, and I'm still gonna read more Elin Hilderbrand to give her writing more thought. Also on that vacation, and I also don't have that book, I actually left both of these books at the resort so that someone else could pick it up, hopefully. But I read The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I did rate that one 4.25 stars. I thought it was a very good mystery. It kept me on my toes the whole time. I was intrigued the entire time. I think I finished it in like one day. I know that's, you know, I was on the beach and like at the pool a lot, but it was like I didn't want to go do other things because I was reading this book. So yeah, would definitely recommend if you're looking for just like a quick little spooky by the water type of romance. I mean, not romance, mystery. And I think I ended up getting that one in like a little library around the corner of my house. So yeah, it really wasn't like a loss to me, like leaving it behind, and I wanted to give someone else a chance to experience that book by the water like I did. When I got back home and on the plane, I picked up Set on You by Amy Leah. So this is the first book that comes before X's and O's that like everybody obsessed over around like that time. So I wanted to read this book first, and I ended up rating it 3.5 stars. It was good. Like some things in it I remember bothering me about the, I think, female main character and just the way that she dealt with things, but I still thought that there was a lot of good messages in it. I loved, I think, the best friend character, and the whole like Instagram element to it I didn't mind at all, so I thought it was good for that reason. After that, I read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I told you guys I would read another Christina Lauren book, and I did, and I loved this one. I rated this one 5 stars as well. This is one of my favorite books of all time, even though I have read Every Summer After before by Carly Fortune. I know they're very similar. I definitely enjoyed this one, and I think I like it more. And yeah, this is just one of like the most perfect romance comfort reads, especially for like the summer / fall. So I definitely recommend trying it if you haven't already. Also a 5-star, Happy Place by Emily Henry. Of course, I tried to read this almost as soon as it came out, and I loved it so much. I don't think I have to say much about this book or this author. Emily Henry is like the queen of like romances that also have like, I'd almost say like life lessons in them, or like messages about being in your 20s and 30s and like coming of age. So if you are in your 20s or 30s and are looking for a good little romance book, or haven't heard of Emily Henry or haven't given her books a try, I would definitely recommend. My top for sure is Beach Read all time. I think this almost like matched it though. But yeah, definitely recommend Emily Henry's writing. I love her so much. She's a queen. Then I read Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I rated this one 4.5 stars. I really liked this book. I thought the tennis element was really cool, and Her relationship with her dad was really inspiring to me and made me tear up a few times, and I just loved reading about a woman kind of like finding herself and being like, I don't know, not a rebel to society, but like just not caring about what society thinks about her and challenging these stereotypes and norms that people expect of her. Such a good read. All of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, in my opinion, have been really, really good. After that, I read His and Hers by Alice Feeney. I loved this book as well. I rated it 4.25 stars. Alice Feeney just has this way of writing that just keeps you on your toes, and you literally will never know who the culprit is or what is happening until the very last page, like the very last page. So if you haven't tried her yet, I definitely recommend it. But yeah, this was another one of hers that I had picked up, and I read it and I was like, she did it again. She freaking did it again. After that, I read Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix. So this one I ended up rating 4 stars. I really, really liked it until about the last few chapters. I thought the book just kind of got like weird, and like the mystery was just getting a little bit unbelievable and like outrageous. But the entire book, like leading up to it, and the history that you get about final girls in films and stuff was really, really cool. So I would still kind of recommend this book. I just you know, don't mind the ending, I guess. The last book I read in that month was If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I really liked this book. I don't think this book is for everybody. A lot of people said they didn't like it because of Shakespeare and stuff, but I rated it 4.5 stars. The ending is kind of predictable, but I still thought it was a really like lyrical and poetic book, and like it's a Shakespearean tragedy in its essence, and I thought it was really, really cool. So I'd still recommend it. Moving on to June, I started off the month by reading Fourth Wing. I rated this 5 stars, obviously. I think everybody did, almost everybody, and I really, really loved this book. The dragons in them are amazing, and I would recommend this book to like literally everybody. If you love fantasy, just read this book. Even if you feel like it's hyped up, just read the book. Then I read Hooked, and I was really disappointed by this. I rated it 2.75 stars, and I feel like I was being really nice. I thought that Hook, like the main character, was just really dumb, and a lot of the things that were happening was just so dumb. Like I was like, why would anybody ever, like, there's some elements that I loved, but then other elements I was like, no, just no. So I don't know. I'm still gonna try her other dark romance books. Like I have Scarred, and I think Twisted is one of them, and I'm gonna try them out, but this specific one was just not for me. And I picked up The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the second book in the Full Prince trilogy. I loved it. I rated it 4.5 stars. It was a really good second book and set up the third book really well. And just like the character and plot development that happens between these books is just amazing. So I deady recommend picking it up. Then I read Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and I was really disappointed by this one. I rated it 2.5 stars. It has a trope that people really don't like. I don't know what to say, to be honest. 2.5. Some of like the elements of the lake and the Toronto scenes I really, really liked, but then like the overall premise of the book, like the whole romance part, I just didn't like. So, but then I read the Song of Achilles, and that kind of made up for it. I rated it 4.5 stars. I love the story so much. I thought it was so beautiful and just so sweet and cute and tragic all in the same way. But I would definitely recommend Madeline Miller. I'm gonna try some of her other books and see how they are. Finally, I finished off the month with a 5-star read. I read Twisted Love. I think I said in a video recently that I rated this 4.5 stars. I did not. I rated this 5 stars. I loved this freaking book. I loved it. I loved it so much. So I would definitely recommend picking up any book in the Twisted series, but specifically Twisted Love. You should read them in order, in my opinion, because they kind of do happen chronologically. Moving on to July. I start off the month with All of the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I rated this book 4 stars. I thought it was really, really tragic. I had watched the movie before, so I don't know if that affected my rating at all, but I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a really cute romance, but very, very tragic and sad. Definitely look up the trigger warnings for this one. After that, I read As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This is the 3rd book in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, because I'd read the first 2 last year. I rated this 5 stars. I really, really liked it. It took so many twists and turns and was by far the darkest book in the series. So yeah, it definitely takes a dark turn towards the end, but Pip is one crazy gal, and damn, quite the character. I also ended up reading, it's kind of like a prequel to that entire series. It's called Killjoy by Holly Jackson. It's a little novella, it's not that thick, and I rated this 4 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was a cute little novella. It's kind of like literally just taking place right before the first book and kind of setting up why she chose to do the big capstone project that she did. So yeah, I thought this was really cute as well. Then I read We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han to finish off the series. I did end up rating it 3 stars. It isn't that great of a series, like a book series, but I think that the TV series is really good. I just don't like the writing in these. I think it's really like campy and immature, and Belly's really annoying, and then the plot of this book was just really dumb. But because of like the inspiration and like the vibes of this book, I did enjoy it. So I don't know, I ended up rating it 3 stars. I also rated It Starts With Us 3 stars. I didn't really enjoy this book. I thought that it was kind of like a not needed. Like, I was fine with how It Ends With Us ended. Like, I think Colleen felt like we needed this, but I didn't feel like I needed this. So I don't know, I rated it 3 stars. It just, the Ellen letters coming back really irked me. So yeah. But then I picked up Queen of Nothing. I switched to fantasy and things got better. I wanted to finish off the series and I rated it 4.25 stars. I really loved this entire series and I thought this was a great finisher, but the ending of it was odd to me. I thought that how everything ended was just too neat and not realistic for what the characters would have done. So do with that what you will. It got even better because I read Percy Jackson, the first book, Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, and I rated this 5 stars. I loved this as a book. I had watched the movies, but as a book, it's so much freaking better. And I don't know if you guys know, but there's a TV show out now, and I watched the first 2 episodes, and oh my gosh, the TV show is so much better. And I'm so excited for the rest of the TV show and to continue the series eventually. But yeah, this is a really good freaking book series. It's rated for 9 to 12-year-olds, and it doesn't feel like it when you're reading it. The last book, and also a 5-star read for the month, was Twisted Games. I love this series, as I mentioned, and this couple specifically is so freaking cute and just good together, and I don't have to say much else. Moving on to August, I started off with The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, and I rated this 4.5 stars. I feel like I could not rate it lower than 4.5 stars because it's literally a fantasy classic, and I feel like a lot of people can agree that like the actual writing in it is horrendous, but the storyline and like things and elements that are made up in here, so good. The blueprint for fantasy. And I thought it was a really fun story, and then I watched the movies and I feel like it just enhanced it for me. So yeah, I would still recommend it if you're thinking about reading it. Then I read It Happened One Summer. I rated this 4 stars. It was really good. It was giving 5 stars. It was amazing. And then something happened, like the, you know, 5th act break up or whatever, and it annoyed me so freaking much. So I had to lower the rating and bump it down to 4 stars, but I'm still gonna pick up the second one because I have a feeling I'm still gonna like it. Then I picked up Bad Girl Reputation. I rated this one 4 stars as well. This is like the second book to this like Avalon Bay series that Elle Kennedy has going on, and I did really like this one. I honestly don't really remember what it's about. I just know it's about these 2 exes. I think I didn't rate this one higher because although it was cute and I loved it, I didn't feel like they had actually like worked out the issues that they had at the beginning of the book and why they didn't want to be together. So yeah, for that reason I had to lower my rating, but it's still a really good series, like a companion novel series. So yeah. Then I read The Final Gambit, and I rated this one 4.5 stars. I thought this was a great finisher to the trilogy. I think I lowered it by half a point because I thought it was a little bit like much. All of the stuff in this one just felt like overboard, but it was still so good, and the entire trilogy as a whole was so freaking good. Like I said, like just go read it, go read it, go read it. I also rated We Were Liars 4.5 stars. I thought this was really fun. I will admit, about halfway through the book, I was like, what is going on? What am I reading this for? What is the point? Like, what are we doing? Like, I feel like this is just like a literary fiction. Like, I'm confused. And then the second half really picked up and things got a little creepy. So I would still recommend it. But yeah, it was 4.5 stars for me. Next, I read The Brothers Hawthorne. This is kind of like the 4th book / a new series. I don't know. It's like about the same characters, and like I think it's a 4th book. I don't know. It's about Grayson and Jameson and like their point of views. I thought this one was a little bit disconnected because it was following 2 completely different storylines until the very end of the book, and I just feel like it could have been 2 separate books. So yeah. but I still really enjoyed it, and I will read anything that this woman writes, to be honest. Next, I started the Shatter Me series. I rated the first book 4.25 stars. I really, really liked it. I thought it was a great setup for the series and just getting to know like the characters and the world. And I only read the first half of the series, so I'm really excited to get into the second half. After that, I read the first novella in this series, Destroy Me. I read it. This one has both in them. I rated Destroy Me 4 stars. I liked it. Like, getting the other point of view was really fun, and I really liked that she did these novellas because while they follow the same storyline as Shatter Me or the book preceding, it was just interesting to get a different point of view and get to hear like what that character felt while that was happening. So yeah, I feel like it just enhances the series so much more. Moving on to September, I start off the month with The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I rated this one 4.5 stars. This was super hyped up. Everybody was talking about this book, so I was like, I'll try it, and I did really like it. I thought it was really intriguing. I am planning on reading like the second book, and I think there's a third one coming out soon, but yeah, 4.5 stars. I would definitely recommend it. I think it's worth the hype at least. Then I read The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and I was kind of disappointed by this one. I rated this one 2.5 stars. It just wasn't great to me, and I was kind of bored by it. I honestly don't think I would recommend this book, and it kind of turned me off from reading her other books, but I think I am gonna give her a second shot at some point soon because like there's a reason why her books are popular. Next, I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager, and this was another 5-star Riley Sager book for me. I loved the entire storyline in this. It was super creepy, super spooky, and just like being based in like this house on the hill and having this like crazy like mute lady who like is creepy and like is possibly moving without you knowing. Like it was just, yeah, it was great. I loved this book. Next, I read After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is part of her backlist I was talking about. So this was actually the only one that I didn't really like. I rated it 3 stars. Like I liked it, but I thought that like the entire premise of it I didn't like, but the way it was executed I did. I don't know if that makes sense. I liked the writing and the characters and the storyline, but like the premise of these two people like deciding to take a break and then like not really solving anything and then getting back together, like I just didn't enjoy that. Like I felt like there wasn't much development. So yeah, but you know, give it a try, see if you like it. After that, I read Throne of Glass. I loved this book. I rated it 5 stars. That's it. 5 stars. Throne of Glass, 5 stars. Read the series. Next, I read Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I rated this one 3.5 stars. I liked it. I just thought it was gonna be more serial killer-y than it was. Like I thought it was gonna be like a romantic like thriller almost. Like I don't know, contemporary romance, but like has thriller elements in it, or like a thriller with romance elements. Like I don't know, but it was more just like, I don't know, a regular romance. Yeah, try it. I don't know. Try it out. See if you like it. I rated it 3.5 stars. And then I read Unravel Me. So this is like the second book in the Shatter Me series, but after the novella Destroy Me. I rated this one 4.5 stars. I really, really liked this. Oh my gosh. Getting to meet Aaron Warner and just like I think it's just worth the hype. Like I would just say it's worth the hype. 4.5 stars for this one. And then of course I had to move on straight to Fracture Me in this novella again, and I rated that 4 stars. Getting Aaron's point of view was freaking sane. Like I was like, what? Like yeah, I loved this. And then moving on to Ignite Me, I rated this one 4.75 stars. I think this was my favorite book in the series so far. Like again, I don't want to spoil things because it's like the 3rd book in the series, but just I need to read the second half soon. After that, I read Love Theoretically by Hazelwood, and I actually really enjoyed this book of hers. It was 4.75 stars for me. I loved The Love Hypothesis, but Love on the Brain wasn't my favorite book in general. I thought that the main female character was really annoying, but in this one I loved both of them so much, and this was one of like my favorite Hazelwood books again. Moving on, I started a series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, The Naturals. I read the first one and I rated it 4 stars. I thought it was really, really fun and how it set up the book and just like the entire series, I ended up realizing, but it was really, really cool, and I would definitely recommend the series if you're looking for like another YA mystery series. The twists are just like Jennifer Lynn Barnes fashion, but this also just gives a little bit more of a thriller experience. Moving on to October, I started the month off with a 5-star read. This is Wildfire by Hannah Grace, author of Icebreaker. It's the second book. It's about our boy Russ, and I love this book so much. Would definitely friggin' recommend. You don't have to ask me twice. Next, I continued the Natural series with Killer Instinct. I rated this one 4.5 stars. It was a great second book. It was interesting to learn about Dean's life, and again, would still recommend. Kept going with All In. Rated this one 4.25 stars. Again, great third book. And then I finished it off with Bad Blood, and I rated this 4 stars. I thought it was a great last book. I just thought that, like, again, things were just getting a little bit, like, unrealistic, and, like, this would not actually happen. So, yeah. Oh, also in this book, at the end, there was, like, a little novella called 12, and I rated that 3.75 stars. It was good. Like, it was a fine novella. It just wasn't, like, a very fleshed out story, and it was solved very quickly. So I think that, like, I don't know why it was written as part of the series, but it was cute. It was cute. Moving on, I read Dead Romantics. I want to start reading some, like, spooky romances. Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. She wrote the, like, famous The 7-Year Slip that everybody is talking about, and I read this one first, and I rated this 4 stars. I really liked it. I thought the ghost element, the paranormal element, was really, really fun. You're kind of going through it wondering how she's gonna fall in love with the ghost, but it ended up being really, really fun. I also read The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. I rated this one 5 stars as well. It's a second book to the X-Hex, if you don't know, and I really enjoyed this one. It's like the perfect adult Halloween town. I also read Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. I thought that I could not get another, like, witchy romance that would be close to X-Hex and Kiss Curse world for 5 stars, but this one surprised me. The world building in this is actually insane. It's a lot more fleshed out than you'd think for a romance book, so I definitely recommend trying it out. There's a whole, like, companion novel series with this. I think right now there's 3 books out. The last book of that month was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I rated this one 4 stars. I really, really liked it. I thought the 4 little stories were so cute, and the way that they all kind of, like, connected and gave you an overarching lesson at the end, to me, was beautiful, and it really got me into Japanese literature. Moving on to November, I started the month off with Crown of Midnight, and I initially rated this 4.75 stars because I felt like it wasn't as good as Throne of Glass, but now that I'm thinking about it, like, it's fine to rate a book 5 stars because it just gives you that feeling, even if it's not as 5-starry as another book that you rated 5 stars. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are 5 stars books that I have, and one of the 5-star books I like better than the other 5-star book. That doesn't mean they're not both 5 stars. So I'm like, I'm changing my rating to 5 stars, like, unofficially, officially. You know what I mean? Like, it's out there in the universe because of this video. So 5 stars. Great second book to the series. Hungry for more after reading this. Next, I read Survive the Night by Riley Sager, and I really, really enjoyed this one too. I ended up rating it 4 stars. The premise of it was really, really cool. I think it was a little bit slow in some parts for me, and that's why I dropped the rating, but the second half was really fast-paced and really interesting, so I definitely recommend this Riley Sager book as well. Then I read Normal People by Sally Rooney. It actually took me a bit to think of a rating for this. I was so perplexed at the end of whether or not I liked it. I ended up rating it 3 stars. I can definitely see why people love this book and are obsessed with it. I just don't think it's for everybody, so go into it with caution and definitely look up trigger warnings. Then I read Crashing the A-Less by Summer Heacock. This is a book that I picked up for like $6 at Indigo once, and I ended up rating it 3.5 stars, which I think is pretty good for a book that you got for $6. I liked the story. I liked the premise. I thought that the main male character was just really, really unnecessarily mean though, and it was really hard to root for them in the end. So yeah, that was my opinion on this. Next, I read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think this is the last of her backlist, like these types of novels that I ended up reading, and I rated it 4 stars. I really liked this one. It's about this couple who they're newlywed. They've only been together for like 6 months, and after they get married, 9 days later, the husband is in a tragic accident and dies, and the girl, her first time meeting the mom, is at his funeral and at the hospital. So really interesting, very like impactful read, and makes you like reflect a little bit, and it was just a beautiful story. The next one I actually don't have with me because my brother's borrowing it, but I read the Lore Olympus Volume 1 because I wanted to read a graphic novel before the end of the year, and I loved that book. I rated it 5 stars. I'm so excited to continue reading the volumes, and I would definitely say if you're into Greek mythology, romance, fantasy romance, and graphic novels, it's a perfect graphic novel series to start. And it's also a webtoon, so you can also read it online if you want. Next, I read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is my first Abby Jimenez book, and it was so freaking good. I rated it 5 stars. I thought that it was a beautiful story and so funny, and just I loved like the small town element to it, but also like the girl boss element to it. Like it was perfect in every way. And the freaking baby goat, so cute, so cute. Last book for November was Kiss of Deception. This is not the physical book that I read. I actually read the cover with the people on it, but my fiance gifted me the UK covers for Christmas. So, and I lended the other covers to my friend, so I'm going to show you this one. But yes, I did end up rating this one 4.5 stars. I really like this series overall, but specifically like the first book is such a good setup for the trilogy, and the character development that goes into this whole book was just amazing. So yeah. Last book pile in front of me is for December, and we start the month off with Heart of Betrayal, which is the second book to the series I was just talking about. I ended up rating this one 5 stars. It was amazing. It was such a good second book, and so much happens in it. And like, again, I recommend it as a series altogether. This is the trilogy that I was talking about that is a prequel to Vow of Thieves and Dance of Thieves. Marry You, Pearson. Next, I read Iron Flame. So I ended up rating this one 4.25 stars. It took me a bit to get through this book, like almost 2 months. So that's why I kind of dropped the rating, and just a lot of information, like information overload. But just like Fourth Wing, it's a great story, amazing characters, amazing plot, and I can't recommend it enough. And I can't wait to get book number 3. After that, I read Caraval. Well, actually, I started it like in November or something, but I wanted to finish it before the year ended. I ended up rating this first book 4 stars. I think it's a really good first book, very good introduction to the world and the magic and the characters. However, the ending, if you know, you know, what the heck, like, yeah, so I'm interested to see what the second book does, because that ending in this one was kind of annoying to me. But yeah, so I gave it 4 stars. Next, I read The Beauty of Darkness. So this is the last book in that trilogy, and I rated it 5 stars as well. I don't have to say much. I love it, love it, love it. And then I read Hidden Valley Road by Robert Kulker. So this is kind of like a non-fiction / memoir, but it's written as like a narrative, and I rated this one 4.5 stars. It was really, really good. And if you are interested in the topic of schizophrenia and how all that works and like the genetics behind it, this is a really good book to get you started, or just like kind of understand a little bit about it. The last book of the year I read was Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, and I did rate this one 4 stars. I liked it better than Fine Print, but it still wasn't quite there for me. There were some things that happened that I was just like, why? Why is he doing that? I don't understand. Like, not cute at all. But yeah, still a really good book, and I'm definitely gonna read the third one because I loved Cal in this so much. Alright guys, that is all of the books I read in 2023. My back is killing me, my throat is killing me. I feel like I've been talking for literally an hour about books, and wow, that was a lot. Thank you so much for all the support in 2023. I feel like I wouldn't have even read that many books if there were not people like you who apparently are interested in what I have to say about books, so thank you for even caring. And I hope you decide to subscribe if you're new here, and if you're not new here, please stick around. I love you guys so much, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. I don't even know what to do with all of these.